Are you serious? Are you serious? Well, we are very serious here today, and we've got some breaking news coming in right now that's very disturbing. The United States it's official, they have intercepted 6 Russian military planes. 4 of them were bombers, 2 were the Su-35 fighter jets, all 6 planes off the coast of Alaska. According to reports out of Washington, D.C., confirmed by CNN News and others, the United States F-22 stealth jets intercepted 4 Russian bombers and 2 Russian Su-35 fighter jets off the coast of Alaska. And according to a statement from North American Aerospace Defense Command, the Russian nuclear-capable long-range bombers flew into the Air Defense Identification Zone, which extends approximately 200 miles off the coast of Alaska on the west coast. The Russian bombers' flights are seen by the U.S. military officials as part of Moscow's effort to train its military for potential crisis, while simultaneously sending a message of strength to the United States. Now, the latest intercept comes amid tensions with Russia on the wide range of geopolitical issues, and a week after Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in the resort town of Sochi in Russia. And they talked about the interfering in U.S. elections, taking a tougher public line than President Donald Trump on the issue. Matter of fact, the U.S. F-22 fighter jets and an E-3 airborne early warning control system from North American Aerospace Defense Command positively identified and intercepted all of the 4 Tu-95 bombers and the 2 Su-35 fighter jets entering Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. So this is not a mistake. The Russians had 6 warplanes in our airspace area and have been identified by the United States. Now, this is the first time we've seen this many Russian planes literally interacting with the U.S. in over 50-some years. So this is something's going on here. Venezuela's a hot topic. There's a lot going on. We have to get to the subject right now, and nobody better to bring on to help us talk about this than Stan Deyo. Stan, great to have you on the broadcast today.
Good to be here. It's bad in another way because we got so much bad news hanging out there, but at least we have the avenue to discuss these things still. We haven't been cut off by the left-wingers.
Yeah, the left-wingers are still, as long as we can keep a voice, we still got a choice, and I'm glad you bring this up. I mean, Stan, we talk a lot about EMP attacks from potentially North Korea or maybe even China, but we better not forget the back door at Russia, had we?
No, don't forget Russia. Don't forget Iran. Believe it or not, General Soleimani over there is Qasem Soleimani. He's a very brilliant tactician, and he's in the past, several years back, been able to get a letter from himself to the Secretary of Defense, put on the Secretary of Defense desk while no one was there. And when the Secretary of Defense came in, he got this, "Hi, I'm just reaching out and touching you" message from General Soleimani to the Iranians. So how it got there through all the security and stuff, no one knows. So he's brilliant. He's well loved at home, and he could have access to missiles from Russia. And certainly out at sea, they could be on board a naval craft, just a vessel coming off the eastern coast or the western coast, but the eastern coast is more likely. And they could be offshore and launch an EMP missile over the New England states, which would take out probably 3/4 of the United States, but it would absolutely devastate the electronics on the East Coast. Now, why would they do this? Well, ask yourself, why would any of them do it to us? It really goes back to the Middle East and our support of Israel. We've got troops there. We've got naval craft there in the Mediterranean, in the Persian Gulf. If we are strong in our presence there and can defend Israel with our nuclear weapons, this is going to deter what Russia wants to do to help Iran and the Palestinians, etc. So what they want to do, the Russians particularly, because they want to keep their presence there in the Middle East and have a seaport, is they're going to take us out. So get us out of the way. They're going to give us trouble at home. And I suspect before the real deal starts over there, or at the same moment it does in the Middle East, that they're going to hit us with an EMP strike in the States to cause so much havoc here that, we'll probably have to call our fleet back just to take care of us here at home and supply power to coastal cities from the aircraft carrier and other vehicles we've got out there. It's just, it's on our back right now. It's just an incredible, tense situation over there.
It really is. I mean, just to think the other day when you look, we've seen the Houthi rebels in Yemen fly 1,000 miles into Saudi Arabia and blow up 2 places on the Saudi Arabian pipeline. The Houthi rebels were able to take little speedboats and damage or sabotage as many as 7 oil tankers off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. And we're not even talking the Straits of Hormuz here. So I think, to your point, I think that the Iranians are everywhere. They have figured out a way to not attack anybody for 100 years, but to plan a lot of people. For when I think the Iranians get serious about an attack, it may catch the world off guard. This may be a lot worse than even an Osama bin Laden situation. We're showing a map right now, Stan, where you got the Ayatollah Khomeini and Hassan Rouhani headquartered there in Tehran, Iran, and we got the map where the oil tankers were attacked and sabotaged. Pipeline was blown up. We've got the USS Abraham Lincoln and another aircraft carrier or so sitting out there with striker groups, but we're not going around the bend. We're kind of hanging around off the coast of Oman. I think, we're a little bit afraid maybe that this would be a booby trap or we could get ambushed. This is serious, isn't it?
Look, we like to think that our military and weapon systems and defense systems are top notch and ahead of everybody in the world, but yet this is not necessarily true. We don't know, even with our best intelligence, what the enemy are hiding. I mean, North Korea could hide a missile complex so that we couldn't detect it underground. So there may be some really exotic surprises in technology available from the Russians and the Chinese, which would, like take out our fighters or our interceptors or, the Iron Dome. We don't know. So it's not a fait accompli that we can win any confrontation over there. Anyway, it's not good. And don't get cocky about, we've got the best instruments and that kind of stuff. It's just foolhardy to think that. It's going to be a war, and a war on both sides. They have secrets and plans. And the Iranians, I'm telling you, that General Soleimani over there, that guy, he's a crafty military leader. And they just love him at home.
Yes, he really is. And if there was anybody that, they know what he can do. And, we had him contained until the Iranian nuke deal was signed back under the Obama administration. He was one of the assets that was freed up. He was one of the assets. A lot of people don't realize this. It wasn't just money that was freed up by the Obama and the 6 superpowers that went along with that deal. It was a lot of cash, but it was also releasing this man or allowing him to be freely to operate. And so he's got a lot of connections, a lot of sources. He's very crafty. And now, question for you: the peace deal. Obviously, it's now that's been released that Jared Kushner, June 25th, 26th, it's going to be in Bahrain. It's not going to be the full deal, just the economic portion of the deal. I think the Iranians are beginning to see that there's a lot of Arabic nations, what I call the Muslim monarchies, that are really buying into this Trump plan, and they see themselves on the odd man out there to fly in the ointment. Do you think this could also cause Iran to ratchet up a potential dirty bomb situation or something?
Look, I'm sure it could, but one of the things that we have to consider is this peace treaty will not be signed by the Palestinians and the Iranians because there's just no way to coerce them or to cajole them into signing this. They're too set in their ways at the moment. However, if the situation over there, the Iranians and the Palestinians get a weapon that they fire at Israel that really irritates Israel, if that happens, Israel will strike back. And Israel may be the cause of Damascus in Syria being nuked to the ground overnight. Now, if Israel uses a nuke there or on Iran or some heavy weaponry that absolutely decimates part of the Palestinians, whatever. The Palestinians and the Iranians are both going to have to say, oh, hold on just a minute here now. Look, maybe we can talk about this. They'll come to the peace table and sign it just to save their backsides. Now, I think this is what's going to happen to shock the Palestinians and Iranians and the Jordanians into doing the right thing, because Israel said, look, we're not waiting anymore. We're going to do preemptive action. We're going to get rid of your Iranian bases over in Damascus. And bang, it happens, and everybody takes a breath and says, oh, wait, this is World War III we're starting here. Let's talk about it. So I think it's going to force the member nations there to sign that peace treaty with Israel, the many nations over there.
I think you're right. I agree. I agree that these guys will never come to the table in an honest negotiation. They literally have to be forced to do it, sort of like the Emperor of Japan was at the end of World War II. These guys are going to see that the signing this deal is the only choice they have. And that's kind of the Trump art of the deal way of negotiation. He loves to offer an olive branch, but he comes with a hammer. Folks, this is Stan Dale. He has a powerful, great product. This EMP Shield is phenomenal. It's the world's first whole home EMP protection device. It's been approved by the federal government, several agencies, as well as power companies across America. You could pick up the phone even and make a phone call if you want to call and order 620-412-9978. That's 620-412-9978. Use the promo code, the coupon code Begley, save $50 off the unit. And what's amazing, Stan, we're going to get back to this Iranian situation and the peace deal in just a moment. But you have not only come up with a great product to protect people's homes from an EMP or a CME from a solar flare or a power surge from lightning, but you've also now come up with a new unit that can be put on people's cars that can protect a car as well in case of an EMP attack. And you've got a great little video here with Andrew. We'd like to show that for the folks, if that's all right, and just kind of give them an understanding. Folks, again, you'll want to go to if you want to order this online, it's www.myempshield.com. Use that coupon code Begley. You're not going to believe what you're going to see right here.
Hey everybody, I'm Andrew from EMP Shield, and today I'm excited to show you our new technology, the world's first whole home EMP protection device. With over 37 models that can be used around the world, our family of EMP protection devices installs easily in minutes. Being employed this year by federal organizations and electrical companies, the EMP Shield has been tested at Keystone Compliance, a federally approved DoD testing facility. Also serving as one of the world's fastest whole home surge protection devices, working in less than 1 nanosecond, the EMP Shield will protect against electromagnetic pulses, coronal mass ejections, lightning, and all forms of power surges. Proven to withstand more than 40 EMP strikes with zero degradation, the EMP Shield is also one of the world's strongest surge protectors, capable of withstanding over 100,000 amps. So, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like our video and post any comments you have down below. We're sure you guys are going to have quite a few questions, so our engineers are going to be on standby to answer any questions you may have. Most importantly, be sure to share our video, as we're sure your friends are also going to be interested in our new technology. Help us get an EMP Shield into every house in America. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
Wow. What a great product. Stan, you got to be pretty proud of this product that you've put out now, and now the new one also to help protect the cars. In such a time like this, and it's been tested very well. I think you said by the Department of Defense. Is that right?
Yeah, they used a testing agency over in Pennsylvania called Keystone Compliance, and they test all kinds of EMP defense items for the government, plus other electronics. And ours is the best. It's better than any the military has had in the past. Now, of course, they got access to ours, but the test amazed the guys that generate the tests over there. We were over there. Our staff was when the testing was going on, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Our thing worked to double the capacity that you need to for any EMP attack, up to 90,000 volts per square meter area impact. And the important thing is people to realize why you need to get one of these units for your car or cars. When this hits, there's going to be chaos in the streets, and families are going to be separated by distance, and you'll need to get to them. So you need spare gasoline. You'll need a shield on a car so it's working. And once the first EMP hits, for several hours after that, you're not going to be threatened by any other EMPs, because a natural electronic blanket forms over the detonation area, and any extra EMPs won't hit you or your cars, even if they're not protected, after that first one forms the blanket. But you got to protect your cars beforehand. And there are two areas here that are threatening to us, and we can talk about the other one, about the sun and the coronal mass ejections and what's happening right now. It's really unstable. We can talk about that in a minute, but this is a clear and present danger that we can say, yes, we are very close to closing down the United States. So you've got to get prepared so that you've got that the ability to go get maybe groceries if the stores are still open, but you need to store fuel, because the fuel pumps, the gas stations, not all of them are going to be working. So we're doing a lot with the government, and I can't really talk about it, but we're trying to help in that matter for public services, so that you got things to use when the crunch hits. You'll want radios, to see what's happening, and possibly some satellite TV stuff, that you pick up on direct TV or things like that. I hope we don't ever have to use these things, but my common sense says we're going to get hit soon.
And matter of fact, I just saw Stan. Half of the United States citizens here in America believe that there will be a war with Iran within the next 5 years. Look, let's be honest. This thing is getting intense. I think the president is drawing a line in the sand with this peace deal, and that is to force the Iranians to comply or else. And he's basically forcing the rest of the world to go along with him by putting the tariffs on China, by putting the sanctions on Russia, and by bringing Kim Jong-un in line with that blockade. He didn't write him a check. Kim Jong-un was looking for a check, and Trump's like, I'm looking for some nukes to be denuclearized. I mean, when you start showing us you're going to do it, we're going to start sending a little money your way and help you. So what Trump is doing is squeezing all the threats while forcing everybody to the table. At some point, somebody, could come unglued on this. And so, look, it's really crazy what's going on. And Russia's flying 6 bombers. Those of you just joining us, 4 bombers and 2 fighter jets along the coast of Alaska. 6 of them at one time. We had to scramble jets and scatter them all away. Now I know Russia was going to hit us that day, but Russia's showing us they have the access. They can get in the door. And what if they have a nuke? What if they have dirty bombs? What if the Iranians want to use dirty bombs? If you can put a letter on the Secretary of Defense's desk, you can just about do anything. So it's serious, isn't it, Stan?
It is, and I think it was about 10 years ago on the West Coast, from Washington State all the way down to Lower California. There were a group of Russian generals that were brought in and take tours of all of our police networks and defense there. And I, for the life of me, I can't figure out why we let them go through all that stuff. But at a first-hand look at our police and civil defense stuff on our West Coast 10 years ago. So that's one of the things I'm telling you about. What if they got to overthrow that? And they're up there now flying over the edge of Alaska. Duh. Gosh.
Well, this is partly why America had to make the changes we've made. We were selling our souls. I mean, basically, the politicians were just kind of just hanging us all out to dry. And so I like what I'm seeing now, tightening up at the borders, tightening up in the who's got access to come into this country, tightening up our defense systems, retrofitting our Navy, rebuilding our military, the Space Force that has to come. I mean, all of this is important, people. This is a different world now, whole different world now. Laser technology. We just had an airplane yesterday. A guy's coming in to land in Orlando. Somebody takes a green laser and shoots it straight into this guy's eyes and blinds the pilot. The plane was less than 10,000 feet from the ground. The co-pilot has to grab controls and land the plane. The pilot is still hurting. It blinded him. He's off work. Can't see very well. He's going to have to go through some treatments. I mean, this is another way, a terroristic way to bring down planes, is just to blind the pilots. There's so many things going on, Stan. I mean, do we understand this?
Look, I'll tell you what, we have been at war for several years now, and it's ramping up with the illegal entrance into this country, because they're not all South Americans or Guatemalans or Mexicans. A lot of them have come in from the Middle East because they have similar physical features. But when they come in bearing flu and smallpox and a number of diseases, they become a biological weapon in this country, and they're just floating all through the country right now. People have to realize we're getting hit with biological weapons. They're going to try to hit us, and probably will successfully, with EMP weapons, financial. This trade deal with China. The things are really kind of tense there as well. And then we've got weather problems, which is by act of God perhaps, or by human intervention as well. We are getting hit on so many fronts, and people are still worrying about how much they have to pay for their mocha chocolate or whatever. They have to wake up. I mean, the news services are doing us a disservice by not covering these issues in detail. And even Fox is starting to go light on it, heading more toward the left, because the owner's son is now taking over Fox, and he's pretty left. And gosh, we're.
Stan, I can feel your frustration, and you're exactly right. I mean, look at the weather. You're right. It's the worst drought, I think you told me before we went on the air. It's the worst drought in Australia in over 100 years. And yet here in America, there's so much rain. I mean, there's rain the people down in Dallas can't even figure out how much rain they're getting, how cool it is. Up here, we had snow 3 weeks ago here in northern Indiana, and this is the I came home from Texas Sunday. It was 44 degrees, and I said to my wife, 44 degrees on May the 19th? What is going on? And look at all the weather changes, the climate changes. Maybe there's a pole shift. It's already taken place. Is it Nibiru? Is it Planet X? Is it the waves of energy? Is it HARP? Is it a little bit of everything? I don't know the answers, but certainly we're living in a different era. And look at the tornadoes.
Yeah, look, the tornadoes. I mean, this is just ramping up. We had the first named hurricane as well. And here it is. It's now May 22nd. Yesterday, and toward the evening, the Air Force Academy, just north of us, 45 minutes, had 2 feet of snow. That's not drifts. That's
What?
2 feet of snow. Now, get that. And down here, our garden is growing in the sunshine. 45 minutes north of us on, I-25.
That's insane. That's insane,
It is.
Stan.
I know. And the flooding. I mean, the flooding has hit like, Iowa and I think Nevada. Nebraska it is.
Nebraska,
And
now Oklahoma. Yeah.
Just extraordinary. In fact, if people look on your show images page for today, in slide 54, I've got a series of 3 graphs showing U.S. rainfall since 1950 to 2018, where there was an inch or more of rain, or 2 inches, or 3 inches, and every one of those graphs is aiming. If you can see my hands, instead of being a level graph, it's like this. They're increasing now. The rainfall is increasing, and I think you're absolutely correct about the polar shift. The North Pole it's slowed up slightly. It was going at 35 miles a year toward Siberia. It's now slowed to around 28 miles this year, we think. But it's moved several hundred miles over toward Siberia, and it's moved further than the South Pole has. So it's a kind of a lopsided move.
It's a wobble.
Say again?
It's like a wobble. It's like a top wobbling.
Top, like that.
Yeah.
Look,
there's the headline: Earthquake warnings. Earth's rotation is slowing, and it will lead to major tremors. To make one complete rotation in 24 hours, a point near the equator of the Earth must move at about 1,000 miles an hour. But the speed gets less when you move north, but it's still a good click. What's happening is the North Pole has moved over 700 miles since 1975, I think, and the South Pole has only moved about 135 miles. So that is definitely a wobble effect, like a top.
Yeah, and the moon is slowly moving away from us. It has been for centuries, but as it moves further out, it's like an arm. It's like the hand of a ballerina. She's got her hands in tight, and she goes into spin, really fast spin, and she moves her hands out, and that extra lever slows her spin down because, as she moves that mass further out, her hands, it slows the whole thing down. Well, the moon is connected to us, so it's moving further away from us like the ballerina's hand, and it's putting the brakes on the earth. And that's not helping the crust. I mean, we're already seeing more earthquakes, and volcanoes are becoming more active, and the weather, as we were just talking, the weather is crazy. And with the weakening magnetic field of the earth, and this is no joke, the weakening field is allowing more X-ray, more cosmic radiation to come in and strike us and our plants. And the ultraviolet side of that is causing burns, blisters on certain people in the equatorial regions of the planet, particularly the Philippines. It is off the charts of our ability to measure the UV, like a 14, which is even on the normal charts. So this is happening right now. It's going to get worse.
So, Stan, we talk about the sun for a moment because, we've been talking about the sun. We're in a solar minimum, yet there was some pretty explosive solar flares the last week or so. There were 4 back-to-back there. The waves of energy that is apparently coming from this binary system on the outskirts of our solar system. We got locusts like we've never seen, 20 times more locusts than's ever been recorded before in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Iran. And they can't even, the Jordanians are flying the Air Force trying to kill it with pesticides and can't kill them. We have, the water just turned blood red between Iran and Saudi Arabia yesterday. There's no red tide and there's no algae, so they're still trying to figure that one out. And while that's all going on, it's almost like the plagues of Egypt again. We have the wars and rumors of wars, but the sun, talk to us about the sun, because the sun is if whatever goes on with the sun goes on with the earth. I mean, it affects us dramatically, doesn't it?
It does. Just for your audience's use, they can go and see what I'm saying here later. NASA has a site that is constantly monitoring the sun at all different wavelengths to see the various effects of the sun. And if you look up SDO, like Sam, dog, Oscar, SDO dot GSFC, or look up SDO NASA, and it'll take you to this site. And I'm sitting here looking at the last 48 hours of the sun in what's called the iron wavelength. And about a month and a bit ago, I was looking at it and I saw a large sunspot occur, and it stayed there. It went around the backside of the sun and back around it, and we tracked it on the backside with the Stereo A satellite. And as it came around again last week, we saw it forming up like a royal crown with little peaks, the little peaks on the crown, and these all blasted at the same time like a shotgun, CMEs toward the earth. And we saw it, and then this other thing happened right underneath where that was coming out of the sun. There was in a minute or two, a huge black circle formed like a something exploding under the surface of the sun and pushing it up, that's dark field, and then letting it collapse back in. It was boom, like that. So for a low period of sunspot activity, we're seeing a lot of activity in the sun. And I'm going to tell you something from behind the scenes, because we've been dealing behind the scenes with the military. They are deathly afraid, the Air Force, of what the sun is doing. They're more afraid of that, I think, than the EMP attack, because they can stop a lot of those with missiles. They can't stop the sun erupting and causing an 1859 Carrington event and just blacking out whatever side of the planet is facing it. And it doesn't happen in a billionth of a second. It happens over a continuing number of hours. So this is a threat to us. If we're the side that's facing it, when that happens, it'll leave us totally defenseless. We'll be thrown back to the horse and buggy days. It's just really the biggest threat they've got in the back of their mind.
Folks, Stan Dale's with us, myempshield.com. Let me just say quickly, we're going to play a video here that Stan's got to help you understand how, look, if you go to EMPShield.com, if you go to www.myempshield.com, use the promo code or the coupon code Begley. It'll save you $50 on these units. What you just heard him explain, the government's more worried about the sun EMP than a nuclear EMP, which I know they're worried about those. You can protect your home in case of a massive Carrington event, which we're due for, like you wouldn't believe, since 1843. Let's show you the video right now.
Hey everybody, I'm Andrew from EMP Shield, and today I'm excited to show you our new technology, the world's first whole home EMP protection device. With over 37 models that can be used around the world, our family of EMP protection devices installs easily in minutes. Being employed this year by federal organizations and electrical companies, the EMP Shield has been tested at Keystone Compliance, a federally approved DoD testing facility. Also serving as one of the world's fastest whole home surge protection devices, working in less than 1 nanosecond, the EMP Shield will protect against electromagnetic pulses, coronal mass ejections, lightning, and all forms of power surges. Proven to withstand more than 40 EMP strikes with zero degradation, the EMP Shield is also one of the world's strongest surge protectors, capable of withstanding over 100,000 amps. So, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like our video and post any comments you have down below. We're sure you guys are going to have quite a few questions, so our engineers are going to be on standby to answer any questions you may have. Most importantly, be sure to share our video, as we're sure your friends are also going to be interested in our new technology. Help us get an EMP Shield into every house in America. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
All right, folks, as you can see, it's very important. Great product, patent pending product. It's been approved by the government, several government agencies, including the Department of Defense, several major electric utilities. And again, you could pick up the phone and call in an order. Tell them, if you do, use that number right there, 620-412-9978. And they'll help answer your questions. And just say, hey, look, I'm using the coupon code Begley, so you can save $50 on that unit. Or just go to the website, myempshield.com. That's myempshield.com. Use that coupon code Begley. Save the $50. Stan wants you to be able to do that. And also, Stan, tell me a little bit about if people are operating, let's say, on electrical, if they're off the grid, but they're using their own electric, solar power and that kind of thing.
Okay, yes. Now, a number of people have realized that going green is quite important. I mean, I'm not a lefty, but I know that we need to get off of fossil fuels eventually. So people have got the solar panels to generate power for their home. They've got Generac generators, which do use fossil fuel, but then they've got wind generators. And all these auxiliary power supplies are going to be great during an EMP or after it, because they supply power to your home when your neighbors probably don't have any. But if you haven't protected your solar panel system or your wind generator system, then it's going to likely fry in the EMP. So you need to think about protecting that investment and have this working so that you and your neighbors and friends can share off and trade off using some of your energy to try to rebuild after the EMP strike. It's a civil thing to do, and it's a necessary thing for you to protect your investment in the alternate energy. We're doing it here with the power supply companies, with the co-ops. We have a thing that will actually fit a circular EMP shield that the co-op can put into your smart meter. I know smart meters is a bad word, but people have had to have them. But you can take the top of it off and put our disc in there, screw it back together, and your house is protected with that kind of a thing. And the power co-ops are saying, okay, we'll buy several thousand of them, and we'll put them into customers' homes for like $7 a month or something, so they don't have to make a big investment. So we're doing everything we can, and we're having to contract out some of it because they're just so much needed to protect the community as well as the government. This is important, folks. I can't stress it enough. This is not some kind of a money-making scheme. This is trying to get as many of us to have alternate power and to save our homes and the things in them in this emergency. We're at war. We are at war. So think about that.
Folks, again, Stan, we really appreciate you coming on and being with us today. There's some great information here today we've learned. Yes, it is true. Russia, 6 planes. 4 of them were bombers. 2 of them were 4 of them were bombers, and 2 of them were the Su-35s. They flew into the right on the edge of the Alaskan border They were definitely in the airspace they're not to be in. We had to scramble planes and get them out of there. If they can get in just like that so quickly, look, EMPs, it doesn't take much. And as Stan said earlier, an EMP explosion over the East Coast would put about 85 million people in the dark. There's no stopping the chaos of that, okay? So protect yourself wherever you are, and go to, again, myempshield.com. That's www.myempshield.com. Use the coupon code Begley. Save $50 on the unit of your choice. Protect your home, protect the family. And we want to thank Stan Dale for being with us today with some great info. Stan, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope this helps, folks.
Amen. Amen. So, again, we'll be back live again tonight later at 10 p.m. Eastern. Our guest will be L.A. Marzulli. We'll find out what's going on with the, he's got a brand new movie out called The Mound Builders 2, and it's interesting. We'll see you tonight.